Xerox was headed into chaos and a crisis. You wonder how could we have been so long? What happened is what we call in Xerox the perfect storm. Three things came together at the same time. Competition was getting just a little bit better, kind of incrementally better, so every competitor got a little bit better. The economies around the world started to falter, and some of them really started to tank, particularly in the developing markets, Brazil, Mexico. These regions started to kind of go out of control. And we tried to do a lot of fundamental changes to our business all at once. We tried to change everything that moved at the same time, and we also went through a change in leadership that wasn't that great around that time. By May of 2000, we were in really deep trouble. Revenue and profits were declining. Cash was almost non-existent. We actually had some, but it was in the millions, not the hundreds of millions or even tens of millions of dollars. Debt was mounting, and customers were really, really angry. We call it irate. I call it they were really pissed off with us. Employees were defected, and shareholders saw that the value of their investment in Xerox half and then half again, and then was on the road halving yet again. And so, obviously, we're not doing very well. This was a crisis, and we went to work. We appointed a new leader, one of the best leaders that I've ever met in Xerox. He became the CEO of the company. And we went to work. And we laid out what we now call a bold and ambitious plan. It's really interesting. Now it's bold and ambitious. Then it was all we could do. This great plan to do, interesting, focus on two things that a lot of times business kind of loses perspective of this is what they should be doing. Focus on cash generation and liquidity. Okay, so without cash, you don't have anything. Even, it took me a while to realize that profits and cash are not the same thing. So we had some profits, we didn't have a whole lot of cash. So we had to focus on cash generation. We had to strengthen our core business. We kind of lost sight of what we really did. What is it that customers actually come to us for, what they depend on us for, and so we had to focus on that and just kind of get back to basics. And if you go to the end of this journey, you'll see that the results were stunning in both the magnitude and the swiftness with which we took this action and how quickly we could stabilize the company. We cut our debt in half. We more than doubled our equity. We took almost $3 billion in costs out of the company in a very short amount of time. And we did that by focusing on non-core activities. $3 billion worth of non-core activities. Interesting. I think it took us a lot to realize what core meant. For us, what really wasn't what to focus on. And we consistently increased earnings. We built value for shareholders, for our customers, and very, very importantly for our employees. So people generally understand that part. They've written Harvard business articles about it. They've interviewed myself and most of the management team about it. And quite honestly, there's nothing very mysterious about it or magical about what we did. We focused on cost and expense, and we managed that like we manage every single dollar in our own house. And we make decisions quickly, and we implement it and track. Pretty simple things. So by and large, you think that companies everywhere either can do it or do it, and they definitely do them when there's a crisis, especially in America. Driving productivity is something that we do very, very well. We definitely do it when our backs are against the wall. But the real power of what happened with Xerox is that we didn't stop there. And we made sure that we didn't break the foundation on the path to stabilization. So we made sure that we continued to invest today, spending money on things that would not yield today, so that we could not only survive as a company, that we could thrive as a company. I remember meetings with Anne Mulcahy, where we had bankers and all kinds of help during this time, advisors and bankers and you name it, giving us advice. And one piece of consistent advice that we got was that we spend in our company $1.5 billion in research and development. And most of you know, research and development is, research means it's far, far away. And development means it's not as far as research, but it's not tomorrow, right? So if you want to save $1.5 billion, one way to save is to not spend $1.5 billion on something that's not going to yield tomorrow. I remember Anne sitting in the room saying that there's something that she will never do. So one thing that she's not going to touch is the investment that we make in our future, which is in our R&D. And through all of this time, with all of the advice, we have and still do invest $1.5 billion in research and development. So we can be sure as a company that we continue to create futures for our customers, for our employees, and for our shareholders. It's really important that we focus in that way. So we've come out of it. We've done a really good job. If you look at our business, we obviously started to stabilize our revenue base, started from declining before 2009, started revenue growing. Definitely a good cash engine. We generated $2+ billion in cash a year, $2 billion last year, $2.5+ billion this year is what we're shooting for. We're starting to grow employment again. We definitely have a value proposition for our customers around the world that they love, and that they come to us, they have a choice, and they come to us because we do it very, very well. And we've acquired. We started to actually build the business in a different way. Expand the services footprint that we have by acquiring ACS, which I talked about earlier. Actually, great positioning of our company, but we've also acquired distribution around the United States and internationally to ensure that our great solutions can get to our customers through more and more channels. The point is that we emerged from our crisis a stronger company, not just surviving, but thriving. And I think that, as I said earlier, Xerox is a microcosm of the nation, for sure, overall, and I think for Detroit, for many, many companies. When we were struggling for survival, it was very tempting to make decisions in the short term, and we decided to not do that. And I think that the lesson here should be really undertaken by policymakers at the state and local level, but also at the federal level as well. If you stop investing today, you will definitely pay the consequences tomorrow. And this will come out very loud and clear in education. These companies didn't start in the Philippines, or in Japan, or in China, even though they employ people in the Philippines, Japan, and China. They started here. And they started here because we had an amazing talent base of people who had great ideas, and an even broader talent base of people who could actually pull those ideas off. Most of the time, these were technical companies, but innovation happens in many different ways, business process innovation, etc. So both of the challenges that we are running, that we face at Xerox, is where do you invest and where do you focus? And how much time and money do you take in taking risks? I think the United States is faced with today. So consider a few facts that make the point. In a single generation in the United States has fallen from 1st to 12th in college graduation rates. And by the way, if you look on the trend, this year will be 16th in college graduation rates. The number of students receiving degrees in science has fallen to 17th in the world. American universities are graduating about 500,000 bachelor's degrees in science and engineering, and our Asian universities are graduating at least 3 times more. Now you say the population is 5 times bigger, but the poverty rate is significantly higher. The disproportion is actually scary. And we measured creativity. This was a survey done, not Xerox, but the world, the nation did it, in students over the past 50 years. And the scores rose steadily all the way through to 1990, and then they started to decline, and they've been declining ever since. So why does this matter? Why is this a big deal, and why should we care about it? Not only as business people who want to employ some of these individuals, but also as community members who want to live in communities that are healthy and thriving. The number of jobs in the U.S. economy that require science, technology, engineering, and math are growing, and the number of people prepared to fill these jobs is shrinking. And we're closing our borders. We're closing our borders to people from outside the country who can come in and take the jobs because we're not prepared yet to fill them ourselves. The availability of qualified people immigrating from other countries is growing. Our ability to get them to come here and stay is shrinking, either by legality or because their nations are getting more attractive for them to go back to. If we learned anything at Xerox the past decade, and I believe that we have learned a lot that can be applied, is that the difference between failure and success revolves around 2 connected ingredients: the quality of your people and the amount of innovation that you bring to the market. During our crisis, we had a lot of people say, so what was the secret? What's the secret to getting out of the ditch? And we had this little pun about the cow in the ditch. We were the cow, we were in the ditch, and you had to get the cow in the ditch. So what was the secret about getting the cow out of the ditch? Wasn't this strategy?